Yeah, I like to visit random people. You're the fourth person that I'm visiting with, and I don't know, maybe I could give you $20 or maybe help you get some pen pal support. There's nothing nefarious about this, but yeah, that's about the extent of it. I didn't even get a chance to tell him we were doing the video. Maybe he thought I was a cop. First thing in the morning on Thursday morning. Woo, Duck Joe, you're too tall, son, you're too tall. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And gonna share a little story with you guys. I'm gonna learn you something. Maybe I'm gonna learn you something, and maybe. All right, yo, so yesterday was a super busy day for me. I was working on a whole bunch of videos. I filmed a whole bunch of stuff. I did a whole bunch of random visits. Actually, I did 3, and 2 of them went bad. But I got it on film, and I'm gonna be sharing it with you guys nonetheless. Maybe by the time you're seeing this video, you might have already seen that, or if you haven't, just know it's soon to be coming. But after working my ass off yesterday, I come downstairs, I'm sitting down here with my doggos, I'm sitting on the couch, and I realize it's pretty fucking warm in my house. And I'm thinking, you know, Joe, you just went on this diet, you got a lot of sodium still going up in your body with that V8 and that, oh, and them cashews and the pistachios that you're eating. So, you know, maybe it was my blood pressure, but then my wife came home and she was like, yo, it is hot in here. So, the story that I'm getting ready to share with you, we're gonna learn how to do some HVAC work a little bit also with this story. So, oh shoot, and I forgot, damn it. There was another whole part that I needed to share with you guys as well. So not only was it super hot in here yesterday evening, another complete side note, footnote to this, it has nothing to do with this, but only like that much. I kind of feel like this house that I'm living in right now, these old people that we bought this, the people that we bought this house from sold us, let me zoom in real quick, a lemon. A lemon. I feel like, man, they got us, boy. They beat us. We fell for the okie doke for real. Because let me share it with you guys. You guys have already heard the humming coming from my refrigerator. It's not even doing that right now. God only knows if the damn thing's working or not. Hopefully it is. This, well, before we get to the stove, the dishwasher don't clean dishes. I mean, let me show you what the dishwasher be doing. Let me. Y'all see that? That's out the dishwasher. Now I'm realizing that's probably a pretty simple fix. It's probably just dirty. It needs a thorough cleaning of some sort. I haven't looked into how to do that just yet, but I need to. And then let's move on to the stove. This is a gas range right here. And sometimes when you cut on the oven, it shoots out smoke through this exhaust back here, these little vents back here that you can't really see, right? So it'll shoot out this smoke, and then the whole kitchen is gonna smell like gas. And it almost sounds like a little mini explosion going off in here. Well, first, we probably got a bad compressor of some sort in the refrigerator causing that humming. We've got a bad thermo capacity, I don't know what it's called. It's called a thermo something in the range right here that needs to be replaced. If not the whole damn range needing to be replaced itself, which this is a Gen Air appliance. I don't know shit about Gen Air, but my wife tells me these things are stupid expensive. So I'm imagining that's probably like a $5,000 or $6,000 range. And then the HVAC, which is relatively looks damn near brand new. It's probably 7 years old, maybe. The issues with the HVAC, and bringing us to the story of last night. Now, it was probably a month or 2 ago, we had an issue with the HVAC upstairs. Same situation, was hot as a bitch up there. And we got a friend, a family friend, we should call him that. And this guy is Brian number 8. Okay, you'll never see him in no videos, nothing like that. Just a phenomenal dude. He does maintenance work, and he's a head maintenance technician, and dude knows this shit. So he comes over here the first time when we got the issue with the HVAC upstairs, And my stupid ass, I went up there and checked on it, but all I could tell was the damn thing wasn't working. Well, your heat pump is your fan system outside. Your air handler is in your attic or downstairs. We got one in our basement. So the air handler sits inside of a pan usually. Sometimes, maybe not all the time. And inside of that pan is there for protection in case the thing starts leaking because it's condensating too hard or something like that. That pan is to make sure that you don't get a bunch of water damage in your house, right? And then you got like a float pan switch, and you got an emergency drain line that comes off of that pan that's supposed to drain. Well, it turns out with the HVAC upstairs, the float pan switch was tripped, the pan was filled up, and the emergency overflow line was just clogged. Drained the pan, damn thing was working like a charm. And I don't know if it was condensating still like too hard afterwards. Maybe it was just overworking itself. Don't know, but the damn thing works. And that's the end of that story. My dumb ass was feeling pretty stupid, thinking, damn, why didn't I even check the pan? I know now. So when the HVAC downstairs yesterday stops working, I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me go check the pan. Well, there's no pan. The emergency overflow line or the drain lines are coming straight off of the unit. This thing is suspended underneath of the house. So I couldn't see anything there. I go out and I check the heat pump, which is the fan unit thing outside. Folks, we're getting ready to learn some HVAC right here. And it's not running. The one next to it for the upstairs is running, but even though it's not running, it's buzzing. It's like, And I'm thinking maybe something fell down in it and jammed the fans. I'm thinking, I have no idea what this is. So I Googled this. Heat pump buzzing, fan not working. And the first thing that it says is you got a bad capacitor. Now, a capacitor is the number one thing that you need to know. Well, I'm going to take that back. There's 3 things you need to know about HVAC. I'm about to save y'all some money. Maybe. And I learned this from Brian number 8, from him working on the 2 units that we have. I'm not trying to tell you, I know, okay, the guy came and worked on our stuff. Now Joe's a certified master HVAC, master mechanical. That's not what I'm saying at all, but I pay attention enough to know, or at least want to be able to learn, if there's a problem in the future, maybe with this house or another house, here are some key things to check, right? Before you go spending HVAC mechanic money to get them to come out here and do this. Now, mind you, I'm going to share all of this with you, and then I want to ask you guys, what do you think a master mechanical would have charged me to come out here and address this situation? So, in relation to an HVAC system, you always want to check the air handler and that pan to make sure that there's if your HVAC isn't working, is that pan filled up with water? Is your float pan switch tripped? That should be the first thing. If you go outside and you hear buzzing and the thing's not working, well, you might want to pull out the disconnect that should be right there, or maybe there's a breaker, or maybe you got to go all the way to your breaker box if your shit's not up to code. But you take the disconnect out, maybe put it back in, maybe try to restart the system, maybe trip the breaker or something like that. But usually, this is what I'm seeing. In relation to HVAC, it's one of 3 things usually. The capacitor is always number 1. Here's a picture of what a capacitor looks like. I think it's called a capacitor on an HVAC system. I got no idea what this thing does, but there's a way that you can test this thing. And I don't even know how to do this. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do, but I'm also going to tell you need to go Google this if you ever got to do it yourself. So if it's the capacitor, you get you the electric tester things to test if it's got voltage or not, the voltage meter. And you test. Now, I don't know where you test that, but you test to see if you've got power. If you don't got power, well, that's a good sign that your capacitor could be bad, right? Actually, you probably got to do this in steps, because if it's something else, maybe it's not getting power to the capacitor. I've seen that you can look at a capacitor if it's swollen, if it looks like it's busted or leaking or something like that. That's usually a good sign that your capacitor is bad. So don't let me tell you like step by step. I'm just telling you that I know that it's usually one of 3 things. Capacitor being the number 1 thing. I'm not saying that that's the first thing that you check though. And in my case, buzzing but no fan moving. So what they said was on Google, they said you could try to jump start it, stick something in there and try to spin the blades, and maybe that'll get the motor going. If it's not so much a capacitor, but maybe a bad fan motor. So my dumb ass is sitting there trying to spin this thing, trying to push start it. No bueno, it's not working. Well, I would learn about another thing entirely that I had no idea about, and it's interesting. I just want to share this with you because it's super interesting. It's this guy Right here, folks. It almost looks like a breaker, right? And what Brian number 8 tells me is that this thing is called a contactor, right? A contactor? I guess that makes sense because it looks like a lot of things make contact with this, especially power going in, neutral ground, all that good shit, and everything else plugs into this. And basically, as Brian number 8 would explain this to me, you got 240 electric going into this, and then it converts it to 24 volts, and then somewhere along the lines it gets back to 240, right? I'd be trying to learn some things. So he puts his little electric meter thing on this, and turns out that this thing is bad. Now I don't know how this thing goes bad, right? It actually looks like it's freaking brand new, right? I don't know if it's supposed to rattle or not. But here's the interesting thing. That's where the buzzing was coming from. I thought it was coming from the fan motor, and I'm thinking we got a bad fan motor. Turns out it was this, and the way that it was found out was by testing for electric with your electric tester things. So when you got your electric testers, if you're testing for electric on this, and I don't know exactly where he was touching everything at. He touched it on the bottom, then he touched it on the top. It was hot on the bottom, 0 on the top. Meant that this was no good. Bada bing, bada boom. He had another one of these with him. That's how awesome this dude is, right? He had another one of these with him, fixed it, boom. AC's fixed. So the first question, the question that I ask you guys is, how much you think an HVAC technician would have came out here and charged us to do that? Probably $1,000, close to it, easily. 500? Nah, I don't even think so. Probably closer to $1,000. I imagine this part they would charge an astronomical amount for this part. Now here's something else. I'm not telling you can go do this yourself. I'm just trying to fill you in with some knowledge that I'm learning. If we ever do a flip house and we got some issues, guess what? I'm testing that contactor number 1. Then I'm gonna test that capacitor. Then I'm gonna test that fan motor. Then I'm gonna look, or first I'm gonna look at that pan. So maybe there could be something to that, right? But more importantly, here's the really interesting thing about this. So let me tell you like, a part of what goes wrong with these contactors right here, right? This was the thing that was buzzing. And as it was doing so, I heard Brian number 8 say, you got a bad ant problem or something, the ants, something about ants. And I didn't really pay it no mind. I didn't understand what he was talking about. But then when I looked closer, no bullshit, this thing was covered in ants, right? And what he tells me is, because he's seen this many times throughout the course of his career, he says, look, he said, I've seen this more times than not. Ants are attracted for whatever reason to the buzzing of an HVAC system, and they can get in there and they can cause havoc. Ants are aliens, y'all. Simple and plain. That's the craziest shit that I've ever heard in my life. So the solution to that is, spray your HVAC units with insect repellent. Make sure that no ants are, you want some raid going on over there. So yeah, just wanted to share that little story with you guys. Crazy that ants were the cause of that. And not to mention everything else that we got going on in here. The range, the dishwasher, the refrigerator. These folks sold us a lemon, y'all. They sold us a lemon. They knew what they was doing. They went and bought a brand new construction home. They said, fuck that 300-year-old house. So anyways, enough about all of that. Folks, what else? I feel like there's something else that I wanted to share with. Oh yeah, this. As I film this video, we are getting, as I film this video, we've almost got 1 week left in July. And folks, this morning I just got the email saying all clear, almost all clear, we're like 90% clear to close on flip house number 3. And I am so ready for that. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did wake up You hear that? That's the refrigerator. Starting to hum right there. It said, oh, nah, you ain't gonna talk up in the kitchen. I'm gonna talk louder. The refrigerator actually said. Anyways, I woke up at 4:30 this morning in a cold sweat. And it was the first time that I was like, oh my God, what am I getting ready to do with this house? Am I right about this house? Did I jump the gun with this house? I mean, I jumped pretty quick with this house. Am I sure about this house? Well, shit, I better be sure, because it's a little too late to be second guessing this. Now, the credit that I will give myself is this. Okay, Joe, it's okay. Everybody panics. You know, you get it, you're entitled to a little bit of panic. It's a major, major deal. This is the biggest house that we've done thus far. I've got to literally spend everything that I've got plus some. I'll be explaining that in an upcoming video, but neither here nor there. If it goes according to plan, even remotely close, it will all be worth it in the end, because we will see one hell of a come up getting to a $250,000 price bracket after it's all said and done. So I'm entitled to a little bit of panic, right? But the good news is I'm overtly confident in the house, okay? I got some great ideas for it. You know, less is more. You guys have had some great ideas for it. Hey, Joe, put that extra closet, put that extra bathroom in there, turn that joint into a 4-3 for real. See close to $300,000 off of that house. That is true. And it's not like I don't want to do those things. I'll explain more on that when we're actually doing the walkthrough. So the point that I want to wrap this video up with is we're really close to flip house number 3. There's going to be a big spectacle. I'm going to take you guys along with me for the entirety of the closing day. When I got to go, whew, boy, hey, it's going to be real. Let's just put it that way. And that's going to be coming up real soon. And then hopefully the seller will be moved out of the house on the day that we close. And that way we can go straight from closing with them keys right into the house. Ta-da! What do you think? And where do we start? One final thing before I wrap this up. In terms of visiting random strangers, folks, I had another interesting concept and idea for that. And that is, I've got the opportunity to attempt. I'm not saying it's going to go through or not, because I'm having way more fails than successes. And that's either in terms of even trying to get a visit and then they never respond nor accept those visits, or I get the visit and people think that I'm weird or a cop and they end up hanging up. More on that coming soon. But I do have the idea to try to visit, if possible, people who we have talked about in prison news stories. That's right, folks. I've actually got a request in right now for one person in particular. No guarantee that it's going to go through or not. And it's not looking promising right this second, but we'll see. Hey, thanks for taking the time. Let me know if you learned anything from this. Joe, you's an HVAC certified mechanic for real. Not really, but hey, if I learned something, I want to share it with you guys, because you know what? I'm doing stuff and we're doing stuff, and together stuff is getting done. Shout out to each and every one of you. I know that was super corny. I look forward to talking with you again real soon. And until then, hey, y'all say a small little prayer for every appliance and major, I don't know, for every appliance and HVAC that I got in this house. Did they sell me a haunted lemon? They might have. Have a great one, and I'll talk with you again real soon.